your second topic is about to get real, isn't it?
It can be if you want it to.
Yeah, I think
it goes either way.
Because I feel kind of passionate about a certain thing. Well, I'll
So,
kind of go into a little spiel.
I gave Joey the question.
Yeah.
But it's just simply, what stuff do you wish other people cared about? And I'll give you my preface for why I did this topic.
I'm going to take a sip of water.
Because I think I know where your head's at.
I deserve it.
Immediately. Especially if it's going to be a real topic.
Yeah.
I'm 99.99% confident
probably know
what it's going to be. But mine was, I wish more people cared about European soccer here. Because
I'm with you.
There's definitely bases, but it's not that big.
Or soccer in general, because you could say if the tension of soccer got up, then the MLS would become better.
Yeah, and that's fair too. And it was this weekend, I was wearing my PSG jersey, and some dude had to talk smack to me in the bathroom of a bar.
That, yeah.
And
PSG sucks.
And I will say this, that happens to me all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're going to do that, if you want to talk shit to me about any sport where I'm wearing the jersey of the team, that's fine. But if you're going to come at me for a soccer player, just make sure you can bring it.
And we were in the bathroom together.
And
I was in the stall. You're in the urinal.
Yeah.
If you're just being clear. And I overheard this question. And as soon as the guy said what he did, I was like, oh, because you're talking to the wrong man.
I'm not a PSG fan. I'm just a Neymar fan. Neymar and James are my favorite players. So wherever they go, I buy their jersey at whatever club, and I don't give a shit about the club because I got a James Bayern jersey. I don't care about Bayern. Bayern can do whatever.
I really don't care about Bayern.
Yeah. Bayern can do whatever. I just like James.
Fair enough.
So I get his jersey. It could be literally any team on planet Earth except Man U, and I don't care.
Yeah.
And so
Bayern would probably be too close for me. That would be like if Royce or something went to Bayern.
But that's the thing is like your Bayern's my Man U.
Yeah,
so
fair
it's
enough.
like I'm never gonna buy. Pogba is my third favorite player. It's Man U, and now he's dead to me.
And even if they were my favorite player, if they went to Bayern, they would automatically be disowned.
Yeah, no, exactly. So it's this guy basically said PSG sucks, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, sure. I'm not going to defend PSG because I don't care about PSG.
Yeah.
And then somewhere I was just like, yeah, well, Neymar's my favorite player, so I don't really care about PSG. And he goes, well, I mean, don't you have to root for PSG if you want Neymar to do well? I was like, I'm pretty sure Neymar can score 50 goals a season, and PSG can come dead last in the French league. And I personally will not care.
Yeah. How did James come up? Because it was the number 10 situation.
He asked me something, and he said, I was like, oh, well, I'm half Colombian. So he's like, oh, so you like James, which I was impressed because I mean, most people probably don't know that James is Colombian. Yeah. I was like, yeah, James is right up there with Neymar. It's him it's a toss-up, which is my favorite player. Mm-hmm. And he goes, and he said something, and I said, James is the best 10 in the league, in the world. And I set him up for that because I'm like, if he answers this correctly,
you got to know your stuff.
Then I know that he knows what the fuck he's talking about. And he goes, well, no, Messi is the best 10. And I was like, then...
And I was in the stall, and
that is
what I heard.
And all I said was, yeah, Messi's number 10, but he's not the best 10 in the league.
Yeah.
If you can provide me with anyone better than that, which there are arguments. I'm just saying my hot take.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, provide me with another example.
De Bruyne, maybe.
And he said his response was, oh, dude, if I wasn't messed up right now, I could think of millions. So then I looked at Joey and I go, or tons, not millions, tons. And so I looked at Joey and I went, dude, this guy he has tons of other guys, but he's just messed up right now. So he's going to let me know later, like, what's up.
Hit me up later.
But I've had an Arsenal fan talk shit to me when I was wearing a Chelsea jersey. And I show him a picture of me at the Arsenal game, and I'm like, "Listen, man, Arsenal's not even my team, and I'm a bigger fan than you." So like,
exactly.
If you're gonna come at me with some heat, you better
be ready to take it.
And
get your ass out the kitchen.
Like, I'm a little bit of a smart ass, but if you're gonna be a dickhead to me, then
just a little bit.
Like, just back it up. That's all I ask.
I mean, you got to know your stuff.
And it's not like I'm like a dick about it. It's just like I'm always going to say something back. Yeah, I promise you that I will stick up for whatever I'm wearing. Yeah. I think because I don't like if I see someone in Michigan stuff, I don't say anything. Yeah. I just, it's cool.
In your head, you will.
well, if I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like you went to Michigan, I would right down the road. That's cool. But I'm not gonna go up to someone and be like, oh, dude, like Charles Wood's here.
Go green, blue sucks, dude.
Yeah, like Desmond Howard's overrated. Like that's stupid. But my favorite of all time. And then I'll give it back to you.
No, that's fine. It's your topic.
There's a guy in that Man U jersey, and I was wearing a Chelsea jersey, and this was last year when Man U was struggling, and Chelsea was first in the league, and he's like, "Oh, dude, Chelsea sucks. Go Man U!" And I was like, "Who's first in the league?" And he's like, "Oh, Man U is." And I'm like, "Well, actually,
no,
we're 12 points ahead of you." And he looks at me and goes, I'm 12 points ahead of you. And I just looked at him in the face and I was like,
did you you had to leave then, right?
No, I just looked at him. I was like, I don't understand where your head's at. And he's just like, dude, chill out, man. Like, you need to relax. And he started like, not like the push, but like the shoulder slap or whatever. This man was drunk.
Yeah. The drunk, relaxed man.
Yeah, because this was at a bar. And I just remember sitting there and being like, it's a common thing. So you come up to me and tell me that the shirt I'm wearing sucks. Don't know anything about the teams or anything. I proved to you that you were wrong, and then you say that I'm the one that's overreacting and I need to relax and have a good time.
He also told you that you were 12 points down.
Yeah, so
torch your ass.
I mean, I had to go home and ice my face and cool it off after I was in.
That's why I was saying you probably had to leave then.
Because I mean, I was burnt pretty bad.
No dignity left.
But either way, I just wish that more people got into it in the right way. Yeah. And like, just in general, like the songs and stuff they sing during sporting events and shit, and like the communal aspect of those sporting events, even if it wasn't soccer, if it was more football and everyone was like chanting and singing together, man, that's way fun.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. So mine, and you're probably right. Before I start, I'll give you a guess.
I would say civilian deaths in the Middle East.
It's not that specific, but it's the Middle East in general.
Okay.
And it's just the conflict that's going on in the Middle East, and more in particular, the conflict that in the Middle East that we, the United States, and that's why I say is we,
are intervention. Okay, yeah. That's the umbrella. I was just, if I had to nail it down to one thing.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was definitely a great guess, and I knew that you knew it. But yeah, I mean, it's just, and if you want to talk about a major flashback, I remember when we were the realest news, back when we had the webcams and the mics, when I think that was the week that your house got robbed.
Oh,
so you couldn't do the recording, so I had to do the solo one, and that was right after Trump launched those missiles at the Syrian airbase.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I kind of brought it up a little bit towards the end of that video, but my main thing is that I wish more people cared about is the general conflict in the Middle East, and like I said, more in particular, our involvement and the way that our involvement is perceived around the world, other than in the United States, because when I say learning more about the Middle Eastern conflict, I don't mean watching CNN or Fox News to learn more about the Middle Eastern conflict.
When we say care, there's kind of a gray line of, when we say care, it means inform yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's a lot of people that care that have no idea what the hell they're talking about.
Yep.
Which, again, I'm not putting anybody down.
Yeah.
If you watch CNN or Fox, that's fine.
Yeah. But no, I'm not ripping on if they watch the network at all. Yeah. But when it comes to that situation in particular, whether they report facts or not is not necessarily up to question. It's the way that they report the facts, because they're going to twist it and make it look like the United States, whatever happened, the United States part in it was not as bad as it seems, or that everybody else is talking about.
It's because if I'm hearing you correctly, because this is something that I always I reflect on a lot, is we don't hear what they might perceive as our intervention.
Yeah.
And we never will, probably.
When people in this country, like the average person, thinks of the United States intervening or our intervention within the Middle East,
we're the white knights.
Yeah, exactly. We're the good guys. We're just coming and trying to make everything a better place, trying to instill democracy everywhere and get rid of the bad guys.
And I'm not arguing that we're the bad guys or the good guys. I'm just saying we never hear the other side.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is, I mean, to me, that's interesting. That's intriguing. I would like to hear someone who lived in Baghdad their entire life and what it was like for them when they heard that we were, going to drop boots.
Yeah.
So that sort of thing I find interesting. And it's kind of the idea of, multiple perspectives, but it's just when you say like, oh, I want more people to care, it's just, I don't want to, I'm just the type of person that I just don't want to turn on something and just absolutely just indulge everything in and believe everything it says for face value. I just want to do an extra step just to see, what else might be out there.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason why I say like that my goal is to be, or that people should learn more about it, is because you have to look at it from a perspective of how do we improve the conflict that our intervention is not only causing but accelerating. Because when you talk about getting rid of the conflict in the Middle East or getting rid of the mentality that creates terrorism, one of the main ways that you can do that, I mean, this is all my personal opinion. I enjoy learning about the conflict in the Middle East and everything and all the different pieces, all the different actors and political actors and moving pieces that have to do with how the conflict in the Middle East is generated and how it's conducted on a daily basis, and all that stuff interests me. So by no means am I stating this stuff as actual fact, like if you do this, this will happen without a doubt.
Right.
I'm taking the facts that I've learned about and the numerous sources that I've read and studied that this is allowed to formulate this opinion. But my thought on the situation is that if we show compassion and sympathy towards normal everyday people that have to deal with the conflict in the Middle East firsthand, the people that the missiles are dropping in their backyards
and their houses are getting
the people that are seeing American boots and the American flag on Predator drones each and every day, and where they're fighting against terrorism and going against enemy combatants, but you're destroying their homes and their way of life
as
and their
well.
Family members along with it. And you think about, okay, take for instance, and I remember bringing this up, and I've said this multiple times, and I preface it with, by no means am I saying that any of these tragedies that happen in like the Western civilization or first world countries are like not that big a deal. Every tragedy is a tragedy, and they're all big deals, and they're all of importance, and just as tragic as being a normal tragedy, no matter what it is, to what extent. But you look at like something of in that Manchester tragedy with the Ariana Grande concert, you think about people look at that and say, "Oh my God, how could somebody go in and set a bomb off and kill those people, innocent people exiting an Ariana Grande concert?" But then later information came out that said that the dude who ended up bombing the concert told a witness that they were doing this because of the United States interventions in Syria. So you have these airstrikes that the U.S. is conducting on a daily basis, and I'm not saying, and this is not a knock on Trump or anything, because Obama was just as guilty as Trump is with these civilian casualties
and
with
no
these
one's
airstrikes.
actions. I mean, this goes without saying, but just to make it absolutely crystal clear, not justifying anyone's actions, of course.
By no means am I saying that he is in the right by doing this. All I'm saying is that, and this is what learning more about this would generate in terms of your thinking, your mentality towards it, because it brings you a different perspective where it's like, to me, in my most realistic and honest thinking would be, it's a tragedy, but I'm not surprised that they would think to strap a bomb to themselves and go outside of a concert, because when you're in a country like Syria and your family is getting bombed by missiles with American flags on them, and they claim, and you see in the news media the next day, like, successful mission or few civilian casualties, but we got the enemy combatants as well, like almost pretty much brushed off the fact that they killed civilians. You see that and you think, what the hell? Like, civilians, let's say a missile killed, I think after the Syrian missile one that I did that video on, we had an airstrike, and I think like somewhat upwards of like 57 to 60 civilian casualties were. Like, they see that, and then the Manchester,
that's all they know.
The Manchester tragedy happens, and I forget how many people exactly died, but I don't think did it reach the double digits?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
I'd have to look up an exact number, but regardless, it's not nearly as much, and especially you see these on a daily occurrence in these Middle Eastern countries with car bombs, suicide bombs.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, it's just you're seeing on such a larger scale in those countries, and all they're getting is just such limited airtime. And this all entails, wanting people to care more about this, entails the simple fact of A, being informed, and B, generating this type of mentality when you learn about these facts and learn about actually what goes on, because it gives you a view from a different perspective. And that learning as many different perspectives as you possibly can is the best thing that you can possibly do in all facets of life.
And I'm just going to finish a thought that you might be going towards is, when you think about those perspectives, you find solutions.
Yes, exactly.
Because to me,
solutions that are a win-win.
Right, because the thing is, if I'm trying to figure out why these sort of tragedies are happening, I want to know their perspective so I can figure out how to beat that.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm thinking, okay, someone's doing this car bombing, whatever they're saying they're doing it for, I want to find the real reason, what drives that, and then I'm going to fix that to find a solution.
Yeah.
And that's easier said than done, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Without a doubt. Like you said, nothing's... I mean, we're two guys in
I'm by no means saying that.
House.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm the key to solving peace in the Middle East.
Yeah.
But it's just offering this compassion, this sympathy, brings you another perspective, and it brings a light of things that the people that are going through this conflict on a daily basis never see, because even though you have these tragedies happening in their backyard, they never see it global, like on a global scale of news organizations like candlelight vigils with the Manchester attack, like all these professional sports teams coming out and having massive donations.
Yeah.
People in Syria happen that on a daily basis, and they never see any of that shit.
Right.
All they get is a tweet by the Associated Press and Reuters, because those are the only news organizations that would talk about that type of stuff, because they want people to know the real facts about shit that actually goes on.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it's just you wish people cared more, because I mean, we'd get closer to possibly a solution.
Yeah, and that's why I always, and we've talked about this before, if I were ever become president, the first thing that I would want to do is say, I would walk into the Oval Office and say, get me a sit-down meeting, just me and the leader of ISIS. Or like me and the ISIS would probably be too much of an extreme, because they're so batshit crazy to the point where
there's no
diplomacy, no politics there at all. But if you look at maybe in organizations like Al-Qaeda, because ISIS, Al-Qaeda didn't even want ISIS to join them.
That's how I know how beyond fucked ISIS is. Al-Qaeda's like,
distancing themselves from you.
No, we don't want any part of that. That's insane to me.
Yeah, because Al-Qaeda's violence, and they justify their violence, is all religious-based and for political aspirations.
Yeah.
But ISIS is just, we're going to fuck the world up just for the sake of doing it. And if you don't like it, then we're going to cut your head off and post it on the internet.
Yeah.
So, let's say I get in the Oval Office, get me a sit-down meeting with Al-Qaeda, because their biggest, I mean, there's plenty of beefs, quote unquote, that go along with this conflict, but you look at their main beef is that the United States is occupying their land. And it's like the United States doesn't have the right to occupy their land. Not only that, but then you have these airstrikes that kill civilians, and then they use that as a recruitment tool. I mean, that's not even an opinion. That's a simple fact that they take these statistics and these airstrikes and these civilian casualties and use it as a recruitment tool to say, these are the real terrorists, the American infidels. But if you say, okay, we're gonna get our ass out of here, we're gonna rid ourselves from your land, you get the land back, but just don't be cutting off innocent civilians, don't be killing innocent civilians, don't be doing any bullshit like laws to the point where you're discriminating just massively against women, or you're creating law to the point where you can do outrageous things like public executions or something like that. Just
stoning people.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, all the crazy.
Yeah, don't be batshit crazy assholes, and we'll get out of your hair.
Yeah.
But granted, another big aspect that goes into the war in the Middle East, and a lot of people, it's almost like a common thing now that people almost joke about to this extent is that one of the main reasons why we're over there is for oil.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, a sit-down meeting with the leader of Al-Qaeda might not solve the oil crisis, but I just feel like it's not a common, or I mean, it is common fact to know that the United States has the most badass military on the face of the planet, and for good reason, because we spend an outrageous amount of money towards it. So we should. And I'm not even saying that as a bragging way, because we spend more than the next 20 countries combined. So obviously we should have the best military in the world. And organizations like Al-Qaeda know this. So it's like, okay, you want to talk about a win-win situation. You sit down and have a meeting. Look, we won't keep destroying all your shit because we're destroying you, and we're kicking the hell out of you. But we'll get out of your hair as long as, you keep your end of the bargain. And then everybody's not necessarily happy, because if you know much about the conflict in the Middle East, whether there are Americans there, the conflict between the Shia and the Shiites, and there's
a lot more levels than just sit downs, obviously. Yeah,
where you're always going to have that, especially more in particular, religious conflict between those two groups is Shiite and Sunni, those are the two sect groups that are always in internal conflict down to hundreds and hundreds of years ago, before any Western civilization came in.
Yeah.
So, that would be I could go on for hours and hours talking about this, because of the Middle East is one of my all-time interests, where I just can never learn too much about it or read too much on it. And I'm just all about diplomacy and everybody love everybody, and just there's always a resolution that can be come to, and a compromise that can be come to peacefully and without a single bullet being fired or a predator drone being fired or whatever.
That's fair.
No violence whatsoever.
That's fair. And I don't know, I guess with the change of technology, that probably changes the most, because we're getting to the point now where we don't even have to send people.
Yeah. And it's like,
which is weird.
I talk about a sit down meeting, and I mean, you want to talk about a level of respect that even you think of these foreign terrorist organizations, they still have respect and honor, regardless of how little or how much it might be. If you're the president of the United States, like I would be in this hypothetical situation, and you are willing to go and sit down in a room with the leader of a group that you have been hunting for decades, then even from their perspective, they're like, okay, this dude must be pretty serious about a resolution or a compromise, so we might as well hear him out, regardless of how much we might like it or hate it.
Yeah,
they might as well hear you out.
Yeah,
because if you're willing to do that and willing to have a sit-down meeting with these guys,
you aren't messing around.
Exactly, and your ultimate goal is just, we don't want to mess your shit up, and you don't want to mess our. I mean, you might want to mess our shit up, but we don't want you to. So let's just in it for the big win-win.
It's fair.
Yeah. So that's what I want more people to care about.
If I'm picking a serious one, because obviously my first one was kind of goofy.
Yeah.
I wish more people cared about lowering our budget or deficit.
No shit.
Because I just think that...
Or leveling it out
to
equally distribute things.
It's just because we talked about it before, but I just feel like this last election was very polarizing for a lot of people. And I just think that we both pretty much agree that it just was a lot more emotional than it was policy-based.
95% emotional.
And I just think that there was candidates on basically both platforms that wanted to talk about things that matter. And to me, personally, it just really matters to get our budget deficit because, again, if I'm a thinking person, if I'm thinking...
one of those thinkers.
This is going to sound crazy, but if we owe a ton of money, then... that's bad.
Dude, everyone knows that in order to increase income, you lower profit and raise expenses. And that's simple math.
And it's just, I say that, like, I mean, the economy in general is important, of course. But it's just, to me, it's nuts because on a personal level, if you have a ton of credit card debt, you're basically screaming for the surface trying to get out, right? If you have student loan debt,
I'm in debt up to my eyeballs. Yeah. Someone help me.
Yeah, and if you're paying off student loans, you're sitting there, I can't wait till I pay it off. Where did that all of a sudden stop with the government where it's like, well, whatever, man.
Yeah.
We're in debt 16 trillion, but who gives a shit?
We're just going to keep trying to raise the debt ceiling.
Yeah, I've never really understood that. And I know there's a million different things that go into it. It's very complex. Not saying that it's that easy, but I would have liked more people to bring up the idea of we need to cut down the deficit. And it doesn't, again, these issues don't have to be that contentious. It doesn't have to be someone going for the throat every single time. Like, oh, Democrat, you want to do this and blah, 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 blah. It's just, why don't we just figure out how to not have a $16 trillion deficit? Yeah. That sounds pretty neat to me. I would like to hear out your plan.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm a big person that, government spending, I would like cut in a lot of areas. I would like lower taxes. I would like, less regulation in general. Mm-hmm. That I'm more on that page. So I would think that balancing a budget for a lot of people would be, priority numero uno, but it never is.
Yeah.
It really never is. And I think it's just a shame. I'm not saying that these issues aren't important, but social issues to me, I think it's a shame that people would write somebody off as a candidate just for a social issue. Something
like, bring it up for an example.
I would say abortion's probably the most polarizing.
Okay.
And I think it's a shame that someone could literally love everything about a candidate, bleed their colors, put stickers, yard signs, whatever, and then the second they say they're pro-life or pro-choice, and it's on both sides. It's not one side or the other.
Because I remember there was a story that came out that I think it was like the head of the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, if you're wondering, or like one of the higher ups were saying that they would be willing to fund candidates and support candidates with like fundraiser money from the party who have pro-life values and pro-life beliefs. And everyone just freaked the fuck out. Like, how could you betray like everything the party has to do with like all the values, all the beliefs and stuff? And it's just like, look, if he is, or he or she, doesn't matter what the candidate is, if they're pro-life, but they also care about the government or care about the environment and want to have more diplomacy implemented.
If you believed in them with everything
policy
before that, and like I just think that something like that with just that one issue. And again, I mean,
we're not saying it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's just it doesn't. Yeah. It shouldn't be the point where it just flips the script for
right.
you.
Because I'm talking. I mean, this might be, I don't know, a little bit disingenuous, just because I'm in my head. My theoretical is someone who is all for one candidate. So maybe if you're splitting hairs, and that issue is really important to you, then it pushes you one way or the other.
Yeah, that's true.
So I could see that. But also, I mean, it goes all the way up and down the ladder where you have people on social media that will say, I mean, if you didn't even touch on, women's rights in this one political campaign speech, I'm not voting for you. And it's like, I mean, let's look at their track record. Let's look at what they've done. Let's talk about other. I just have a problem in general with, it's like, okay, there's one issue that's going to change your mind forever.
Yeah.
And
granted, it's partly to do with how other candidates then take what their opponents say and make it polarizing to the point where it's like, they didn't mention the speech. They don't care about you or your jobs, blah, 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 blah.
That's fair. And there are certain topics that, I just don't think they would happen in modern day society that should be to the point where that would make you not vote for them. In the Civil War, if there's candidates and one of them's pro-slavery and one of them's not pro-slavery, then obviously I'm going to go and say, no, slavery is fucked up. We're never going to have that again. I'm going to be on that side. That single issue should obviously be polarizing. But in today's society, I just don't think that, whatever you want to think about Trump and Hillary is your own beef. But I just think that there wasn't one single policy that they had that should have made you say, absolutely not. There's no way, whatever. But I do think that their actions can be polarizing, and that I think is fair to say that I wouldn't want to vote for them. For instance, if you looked at Trump and you looked at what happened with the Miss Teen USA pageant, whatever it was, and he was in the changing rooms with girls who were under 18.
Yeah.
And if I'm judging, because to me, being a president, you do have to have a good moral character.
Yeah.
Some people might disagree, but I do think that's an important quality to have because you're going to be representing an entire country of people, and I think it's important that you're of good moral status.
Because it's just like general values that you share or that you have that go along with that.
You're the leader.
Yeah.
And it's just like in a football team, your leader should have, I think, just good moral qualities.
You're an ambassador for an entire country.
Yeah, and obviously certain scenarios it's different. So if I look at the issue with Trump and he's going back with underage girls and they're changing, and even newly founded that he had a quote that said, "Don't worry, it's nothing I haven't seen before."
Yeah.
Like for me personally, that's enough. Where that single incident tells me enough about your character long term.
You can link it to so many other things
that I'm like, I can't endorse you as a person. When those, and then obviously there's other incidents as well. But for me personally, that was enough where I didn't want to vote for him and I wouldn't support a candidate like that. But if it's something like, oh, this person wants to make weed legal and this person doesn't want to make weed legal, for me, that's not enough.
Yeah.
That's like, sure, if I'm splitting hairs, will I be on one side and I'm trying to figure out, okay, but if I'm all in love with this candidate and he says one or the other, or she says one or the other, I'm not going to, it's not going to persuade me enough where I'm like, screw that, not voting for them.
Yeah, and in retrospect, like you talk about this last election in particular, when it comes to how polarizing the candidates were, when you look at, and this is one of the main things that made me understand after the fact, because we won't beat around the bush. I didn't vote for Trump. I didn't want him to win, but I'm not the one screaming, not our president, whatever. You deal with the after effects. That he won.
How you want,
whatever. But the reason is the main reason why I more understood the fact of why people voted for Trump is the same reason why I voted for Hillary. Because it was like, did I like Hillary as a candidate? No, I'm a firm believer that she was one of the more garbage candidates that has ever run for president ever, let alone won a nomination. But you could easily say, and I have the same regard for Trump as a candidate because of all the outrageous things he said and did. But when you talk about what their candidacy entails, because you look at, okay, I didn't like Hillary Clinton, but I still voted for the Democratic Party because the staple points of, I'm pro-choice, so pro-choice or environmental protection or dealing with diplomacy and foreign policy rather than brute force, or not necessarily hardcore in-depth socialism, but they more linked with Bernie with democratic socialism and more spreading around taxes, not trickle-down economics as like kind of a staple point of the Republican Party. So even though I don't like Hillary Clinton as a candidate, I'm still voting Democrat because they align more with my views and beliefs. And because of that, it's like you were saying, one thing like a character trait shouldn't flip you on a candidate. In retrospect, if you don't like either candidate, then you can understand and align with someone's perspective of voting for a party. Because, even though if they say, I still think Trump is an asshole, but I voted for him because I wanted the Republican Party in power because I align more with their...
You want the agenda to be pushed forward
exactly.
in general, yeah.
And when I sat down and calmed myself down after the fact and realized that, it definitely brought me to more of an understanding of why someone would vote for Trump.
And I mean, I'll obviously we got pretty segued. I'll carry it back to my original why what I wish people cared about was the budget. That's one of the reasons why when I listened to guys like John Kasich or Mitt Romney speak and I liked them as candidates was they talked about the budget.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's refreshing just to hear someone talk about how we're going to balance the books and get more money in people's pockets, because I think people get a perception of what people intend when they're saying something without really listening to what they're saying.
Oh, yeah.
So someone like Mitt Romney says, I'll never forget, I was with somebody who's lifelong Democrat, would never vote for anything else. And we were sitting there and Mitt Romney was talking about how he intends basically to balance the budget. And he was talking about small businesses and the middle class. Now it's the backbone of the economy and we're going to get more money in their pockets. They're going to get out spending, all this stuff, blah, blah. And the second he got done, she looks at me and goes, wow, that makes a lot of sense. And I was like,
that actually makes a lot of sense.
And to me, it's like whether you like him or not, it's just listen.
And that was my view with Kasich. Because it's like, I might not align with all of his views, but every time he talks, like, he's smart enough and intelligent enough to the point where he brings up points where it's just like, man, I never thought I agree with you, but damn, you make some pretty good points.
Yeah, and I mean, that happens when you open your mind. So I just think that if we had a balanced budget in general, things would just be going so much smoother. Because I think that having debt in the long term is just, it's almost like having like those old cartoon bombs that like have the flame that slowly go over. Where it's just like at some point something's got to give and everything's gonna implode. I don't think it's like to that extent, but it's just like this idea that we can have this crippling debt forever and nothing. I wouldn't say nothing, but we don't have absolute havoc.
It's not to Looney Tunes level yet.
yeah, exactly. I just think that that's something that I wish we talked about more, people cared about more, and people, again, the whole idea behind I wish people cared about more was, okay, let's find solutions for that issue then. Because if we care about it, if I care, like, for instance, I care about sports teams, right? I care about what they do in the season. Mm-hmm. So I care enough to do research on players and look about who's in the scouting reports and blah, 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 to find where we have holes and stuff. Now, I obviously don't make the executive decisions.
Yeah.
But if I were in that profession, if I'm the GM of the Lions, let's say, I'm like, okay, well, I care about this team. I care about how they do. I need to find free agents. I need to find this. I'm finding solutions. The idea of caring is just, man, I wish people cared, because then things would progress in that area.
Yeah,
we can always get better.
Yeah, exactly. You can never you can always improve no matter in what aspect or what situation you're dealing with. And I'll just put one more little cherry on top of this topic as kind of a funny and silly one that I was thinking of is I wish people cared about driving the speed limit in the morning, because in my long commute, I have about a 45 to 50 minute commute from this house currently to my job, which is shortly changing in about a month and a half or so, where the 50-minute commute is going to turn into a 3 to 5 minute commute.
Nice.
Which I can't wait for that. But my thing is that I'm not asking for anybody to go 5, dare I say 10 miles over the speed limit.
Which you should be doing.
Yes. Personally, I think you should be going always 9 to 10 over the speed limit. That's just the way I function.
Yeah.
But it's the people that...
If it's raining, I'm going the speed limit.
Yes.
That pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. Raining or snowing, I mean,
on the
you
highway,
have various obstacles. Yeah. But my thing is that, and it's not even, I'm not talking any other part of the day. It's just in the morning at 7:30 a.m. when you know that anybody that's on the road is most likely going to work. But if I'm stuck behind you and the commute that I have to work is about, like I said, 50 minutes, and there's one passing lane and it's in the beginning. Yeah. So, and there's, I mean, it's curvy. There's not a whole lot of lanes where you have a clear view of the opposite traffic. So if you wanted to pass somebody,
it's kind of tough. Yeah.
You'll definitely have to do it right. But it's to the point where I'm stuck behind people that are going 5, even like 7 to 8 miles an hour under the speed limit. It's clear as day. There's like no fog, no snow. It's in the middle of the summer. It's just like, what are you doing that you're driving at 7:30 in the morning? And like, if you have to get to a job, then at least drive the speed limit. Do you not want to get to your job like when you want to?
Yeah, wouldn't
like on time?
That's interesting. I mean, I I've just never had. I've never really noticed a time of day that's worse than others.
Well, I just mean like in other times of the day, I don't care how slow people drive, to be honest.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Like if I'm on my way back out here, like it's at the end of the day and someone's driving 500, it's like...
I see what you're saying.
I hate you, but I don't really care because I'm getting home and I'm just chilling the rest of the night. I don't have to be anywhere.
That's fair.
But it's just like, if you're driving in the morning, what are you doing on the road unless you're going to work? And if you're going to work, drive the fucking speed limit so you can get there on time along with me who's behind you.
I'm going to add an extension to that too, is just care about driving properly in general.
Probably like a damn human being.
Because if you are on the highway and you stay in the left lane, I wish horrible things to
If you're getting passed on the right and you don't automatically think I'm the worst person on earth right now, then you're wrong.
Yeah, that's just... And also, if you're the type of person that gets passed on the left and then you have to pass the person again, why?
Or the ones that drive faster in the passing lane but then slow down when it's a non-passing lane.
Oh, God, yeah.
I hate you.
I'll give a little bit of a devil's advocate, maybe, because no one likes being behind people in general. Maybe they'd get in front and then they slow down, don't really realize it, I guess. But yeah, fuck you.
Well, and plus, people that don't use cruise control as much as humanly possible, because the best thing about cruise control is that everyone stays the same speed, so you're not slowing down, speeding up, slowing down, speeding up, because no matter if you're going up hills or down hills, it stays, relatively within a couple miles per hour. Yeah. It keeps you at the same speed. So it's just like, it's just easier for everybody, better gas mileage, less stress.
Yeah.
I can focus more on the sick jams that I'm banging out to on my way to work.
Yeah, I feel that.
So yeah, that was my silly one because I got a little real.
Is there any other honorable mentions?
I don't think so. I think I got
environment.
I splooged on my real one. Yeah. I mean, obviously that goes without saying, especially with my hippie tree hugging self.
Okay,
but
that's fair.
It's definitely. I mean, it goes. If I'm gonna put an umbrella around what would entail all of my, I wish people cared about. I just wish people cared about educating themselves on the stuff that matters.
What about cared about each other?
That's just everybody love everybody.
Everybody love everybody.
Let's just care about each other.
If everyone just care bared about each other.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I remember, and just a little, like I said, an extra cherry on top, I remember seeing the meme where I wish people cared about the planet as much as they cared about who created it. I love that quote.
Oh, that's interesting. I've never heard that before.
So that kind of entails my thought towards the environment and protecting the planet.
Yeah, I would say if I could encapsulate anything, it'd be care about why people think the way they do, as opposed to what they believe. You know?
Yeah.
So I don't care what you think. I want to know why you think that.
There you go. Because as we always say, learning from different perspectives and knowing different perspectives can never hurt.
And it's just I mean, you end up in that situation where you're talking to somebody and you would never think, because of what you predetermined in your head, that you would ever get along. And out of nowhere, you're sitting there with this person, you're going, well, you're fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're a pretty cool dude.
Yeah. Or you relate to other people's situations like, wow, I never saw it from that way. I totally understand how you are who you are.
And why you would think that way. Because there's like the littlest things that people try and explain to me that I just don't. Something like a law where, this is how it is. But I didn't understand it. Yeah. And then they explained to me their situation, why it helped them. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, now I'm on board.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. There you go. Above all, everybody love everybody and just be informed and be educated.
Care about Chelsea. Wait, what's up?
Wait, what's up?
What?
What's up? There you have it, everybody. This has been Real Talk with Tom and Joey, episode 8, each and every weekday.
The Ocho.
What?
The Ocho.
The Ocho. Each and every weekday at noon Eastern time here on youtube.com/TJENT. Tom and I bring 2 random topics of discussion to the table to discuss. Nice. Random. While most importantly,
discussing.
Oh, for your entertainment. That was the phrase I was missing. On the table for your entertainment. While most importantly, keeping it real. If you enjoy what we do, head over to patreon.com/TJENT, where you donate $1, $2, $5, or $10. You can be eligible to get some of these badass stickers that are on the back of our devices, which are dope, orange or white or both. Hell, just get whatever you want.
Yep.
Just splooge
your heart's desires.
Stickers, just cover your car. We don't have that many yet, but if you want some, we'll get them.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to watch our videos, it's all good in the hood. You can go to iTunes or soundcloud.com/TJENT. Search in iTunes, Real Talk with Tom and Joey.
As long as SoundCloud still exists, because...
Yeah, as long as they still have funding.
They're on borrowed money.
Yeah, so hopefully they keep going, because we're getting some pretty decent traffic on SoundCloud, and it's pretty dope.
It's pretty nice.
If you want to go to iTunes, give us a subscribe or subscribe or review. It'd really help us out and get us into more eyes and ears, which is always awesome.
Yep, that'd be great.
That would be great. So if you don't know,
now you know.
Now you know. And I forgot that part in the first monologue.
Nah, that's right.
But we got to it.
But now they know.
Now they know. Indeed, they do know. Yep. Thanks, everybody. Hope you enjoy Real Talk with Tom and Joey, episode 8, the Ocho.
There it is.
And we'll see y'all next week, or for Straight Gaming on Monday.
Dope.
There you go.
See y'all.
Peace.